Get ready, because you and I are about to watch the family's useless black sheep take over everything. Walking in, it was obvious his siblings hated his guts, and one of them immediately started mocking him. Suddenly, their father entered, the most powerful demonic swordsman of them all. He coldly asked if the boy planned to join the succession war, questioning if he was truly ready to challenge all his siblings. He just smiled and refused, not out of fear, but because he wanted to declare war on absolutely everyone in the room. His master plan was to crush his siblings first, and then take down his father too. That sheer arrogance enraged the old man, while the others wondered where this loser got the guts to say that. But what nobody suspected was that this kid was actually the reincarnation of the strongest 9-star hero. In his past life, humanity was utterly destroyed by a mysterious enemy faction known only as the Invaders. Even the strongest warriors fell, leaving only 2 survivors standing in the end, Xenon and Ellis. With their allies dead, Xenon charged for one final suicide attack against the colossal monstrosity. Ellis desperately tried to stop him, but he lunged forward without a single regret. It was not enough. As he coughed up blood, Ellis suddenly cast a binding prison spell on him. I know you are asking yourself the same question he did. She confessed that he was the world's absolute last hope, the only one who could save humanity. Holding her family's magic artifact, she swore to entrust him with the fate of humanity for the sake of the fallen. Crying, she activated the relic. A blinding flash engulfed everything, and once it cleared, she lay defeated on the ground. Her only comfort was the firm hope that Xenon would return to this world and rewrite history. As the monster approached, her final wish was to finally confess her love if they ever met again. Suddenly, we cut to a massive mansion. Xenon's eyes snapped open, with no idea where he was. Seeing the luxury, he guessed her artifact worked. But before he could process it, a maid entered the room. He immediately ordered her to get ready, insisting that he had to fight the invaders once more. The maid stared in sheer confusion, calling him young Master Noah and introducing herself as his maid Lydia. Xenon stared at his hands and froze. This was not his body. He realized instantly that he had reincarnated. He demanded answers. Terrified, she thought he was delirious with fever, but he grabbed her arm, demanding the truth. She explained that the mansion belonged to the Daskor family, and that he was the 4th son. The news stunned him. When he asked for the date, she replied that it was the year 850. Everything clicked. The relic had not only saved him, but sent him 10 years back, long before the invasion. Now, here is the worst part. He reincarnated into a family that represents the polar opposite of a holy swordsman. He was now trapped in the body of the infamous evil magic swordsman family, the Daskors. With no time to think, another maid named Selena walked in holding a bowl of medicine. She told him that Master Scar had personally prepared it because he was worried about his health. Xenon inspected the bowl. His battle-hardened instincts warned him immediately that something was seriously wrong here. He smashed the bowl on the floor. Hearing the noise, guards rushed in, demanding to know what happened. One guard yelled that the medicine was a gift from Master Scar, and he had just wasted it. Xenon scoffed at them. The guard asked if he had lost his mind, and Xenon flatly replied it was poisoned. If it was give me was harmless, why did the guard not drink it? Being a holy swordsman, he possessed a holy core, a power that let him sense the hidden corruption in the bowl the second it got close. The guard threatened to force-feed him if he refused. Xenon simply smirked. He said they were finally showing their true colors. He wanted to take his time adapting to this body, but they seemed in a hurry to give him an excuse to start moving. The captain ordered an attack, and 2 men lunged forward. Xenon kicked the first guy before he could react. When the other tried to strike, he caught a boot to the face. He noticed something immediately. This body was frustratingly weak. He hit them hard enough to knock them out, yet they were still conscious. He still did not understand why anyone wanted him dead in the first place. The guard ordered them to draw weapons. Swords gleamed in the room, and then something completely unexpected happened. Light screens appeared, showing the guard's stats. Trust me, you and I are about to watch things get wild. Get ready, because you and I are about to watch him piece this wild puzzle together. This body possessed appraisal, one of the rarest powers ever. Xenon dodged the strike and drove his fist straight into his gut. In one smooth motion, he snatched a sword from another guard and slammed him hard against the ground. The guards whispered that despite his illness, the terrifying blood of the Daskor family still ran through him. Xenon dared the last man to attack, but suddenly a crushing wave of pain tore through his entire body. It surged from the absolute depths of his soul, and he knew it instantly: the demon core. This was the source of the exclusive power for Daskor demon swordsmen, a dark force anchoring his sheer strength. It stood as the exact polar opposite to the sacred core, the holy power of this family's blessed swordsmen. By natural law, these two forces should never coexist. Seeing Xenon writhe in agony, the assassin grinned. He sneered, declaring today would be his last day, and revealed that the medicine he took was never actually a cure. Pay attention here, it was pure poison to drive his demon core wild. His body was ripping apart from a violent surge of uncontrollable power, and Xenon knew it all too well. He realized this overflowing energy would destroy his physical vessel. He had only one option left: bet everything on one card. He unleashed his sacred core's power, forcing it to suppress the raging demonic energy that threatened to consume him, and use that fusion to stand tall, channeling the immense strength he brought with him from his past life. The assassin's grin widened. He raised his blade and triggered his hidden technique, Void Shift. Instantly, the blade slashed for Xenon's neck, but he blocked it effortlessly. The killer froze in shock, stunned by our main character's unbelievable reaction speed. Xenon analyzed him with appraisal, coldly pointing out that he was only slightly better than the previous two trash. The man roared in absolute fury and lunged forward with a wild scream. Xenon spotted an opening and struck, but his opponent vanished, reappearing right in front of him. What followed was a fierce clash of clashing steel. Mid-clash, Xenon kept analyzing everything. He had already fully mapped out his enemy's attack pattern. Void Shift was a demon core technique designed to erase one's presence and close distance in a blink. And honestly, in a battle of endurance, Xenon's borrowed body would collapse in no time. He decided to end this now. Mocking his sloppy moves, Xenon asked with a smirk if he was starting to panic. The killer snapped, losing his mind. He charged with another Void Shift, but Xenon was already waiting for him. He focused his mind, sensed the shift in presence, and struck with absolute precision. The assassin crashed hard against the wall and slumped down, completely clueless about what the hell just happened. Xenon explained that while his core hid his form, it couldn't hide his trail. Gasping for air on the floor, the man demanded to know what magic he used. The young man stared down at his own hand and fell silent for a moment, because, honestly, even he didn't fully understand it. When the sacred and demon cores merged, an unprecedented power arose, blending his past life's strength with the original host's energy. An entirely new power. If he could master this, maybe he could achieve his goal and save this chaotic world. He silently thanked Elise, but before he could dwell on it, Lydia and Selena rushed to his side, deeply worried for him. He assured them he was fine, then pointed toward the window, where a highly unusual bird had just landed carrying something. It was actually a tiny dragon delivering a mysterious letter. Lydia recognized it instantly. It was an official summons sent directly from the Patriarch himself, Lord Victor Daskor. In the letter, the leader wanted to confirm if the young master would join the brutal succession war. Xenon broke open the seal and asked his maids if they knew anything about this matter. Selena smiled, replying that anyone serving the Daskor family knew all about this bloody family tradition. She explained that it was a brutal war designed to mold their bloodline into an absolute power. Basically, a massacre where siblings with demonic blood slaughter each other to harvest and steal their power cores. In the end, the strongest survivor with the most harvested energy would inherit the entire clan. Xenon silently pieced it together. No wonder he hadn't crossed paths with any relatives since waking up in this body. They were already killing one another, Lydia whispered, asking if he actually planned to enter the fight. Xenon smiled and teased that we'll find out soon. What do you think happens next? Get ready, because you and I are about to meet our main character's legendary and highly envied family. They were known as Holy Knights, whose light cores symbolized justice and protection. But the Daskor family was the complete opposite. People looked at them with pure disgust and terror, a martial clan wielding demonic power from the shadows. Even though almost everything about them was an absolute mystery, the entire world knew one thing for sure. Their patriarch, Victor Daskor, was humanity's strongest swordsman. Shortly after, Xenon entered the Grand Hall to see for himself. As he crossed the massive entrance, he was officially introduced to everyone as Noah Daskor. Several people were already waiting inside, and the first to stand out was Damien, the oldest brother. Standing right beside him was Julia, the eldest daughter, while Ciel and Eve watched from a distance. But Xenon's gaze suddenly locked directly onto Scar Daskor. The very brother who had poisoned Noah was standing there, looking as calm as ever. Julia mentioned that Noah had miraculously recovered, and Xenon replied that he already knew exactly who caused it. She asked if he would keep resting, but he calmly replied that he would focus on his sword training. Julia glared with suspicion, trying to read him, while Scar mocked him, saying weaklings gain nothing from training. Watch this. Xenon told him that if he wouldn't fight head-on, he should just shut his mouth. That instantly infuriated Scar, but before everything could explode, Eve stepped in to restore order. Right then, a powerful voice announced the patriarch as heavy footsteps made the entire room shake. Everyone bowed their heads instantly, and even Xenon felt a brutal pressure closing in on them. In his past life, this warrior's fame was so great that everyone feared him without ever meeting him. Sitting on the throne was Victor Daskor, the 9-star patriarch and undisputed leader of the family. Victor swept his gaze across the room and declared that the family meeting was officially starting now. Finally, he locked eyes with Noah, asking what he planned to do now that he had recovered. Xenon smiled confidently before answering. He announced he would join the succession war, crush his siblings, and claim the very top of the family. Victor asked if he understood that meant declaring war on them. But Xenon calmly corrected him. I know what you're thinking, total madness, right? But he was challenging every single one of them. A dead silence filled the room. His siblings stared in pure disbelief, unable to process such insane confidence. And Xenon went even further, directly telling Victor that he was also on his list of people to surpass. That shocking confession unleashed a devastating wave of purple energy. The pressure slammed into Noah, cracking the stone beneath his feet, but Xenon instantly recognized where this power came from. It was his father's demonic core, glaring down at him and asking if he truly believed he could surpass that strength. Without a single doubt, Xenon agreed. Victor asked why he craved power so much, and Xenon replied it was to prevent losing those he loved ever again. Surprisingly, Victor let out a highly satisfied smile. He decreed that Noah would join the war, daring anyone who disagreed to step forward and face him. Nobody spoke, but envy and resentment filled the hall as Victor gave his son one final heavy order. He commanded him to be greedy for strength and to completely devour anyone who stood in his path. Later on, Noah was alone in the training grounds, standing right in front of a wooden practice dummy. His blade flashed through the air, slicing the target clean in half and showing incredible progress since waking up in this body. Even though his physical condition was much better, he was still leagues away from the power he once had as Xenon Glorious. Most concerning of all, he could no longer fight the same way, because two opposing cores now lived inside him. Staring down at his hand, he silently wondered what kind of power would be born by fusing these two elements together. For now, he would keep his holy core a total secret, but suddenly, a calm voice echoed right behind him. Julia Dascor had just arrived at the training grounds. The white-haired girl looked at the broken dummy, noting his moves were incredible for someone who spent years being sick. She also admitted that their father was now watching him closely, making Noah instantly realize the real reason she visited. Wasting no time, she drew her sword. "Trust me, you and I are about to see a brutal duel we cannot miss. Get ready, because you and I are diving straight into a brutal clash, with Noah getting kicked flat on his face." Julia calmly asks if he actually expected to chat, keeping a freezing glare as she lunges with lightning-fast, lethal strikes. Noah raises his sword, desperately trying to block everything. He thinks it is the perfect chance to test his limits. But defending is impossible against Julia's terrifying speed and control. Suddenly, another kick breaks through his guard, completely throwing him off balance. The white-haired swordswoman admits he has talent, but tells him his power level is still disappointing. She wonders if this is truly the strength of someone praised by Victor Dascor, especially since she already reached 7-star mastery. That explains why Noah is feeling such an overwhelming amount of pressure. Julia vanishes, rushing in again. Noah barely reacts in time to stop the devastating direct impact. Watch closely, now tension peaks as Noah's sacred core awakens, but Julia stares in shock, realizing something is very different. She calls it the sacred demonic core, that defective power everyone in the family keeps gossiping about. Julia explains that he was supposedly born with an incredibly weak and broken core. Hearing this, Noah finally understands. The original owner of this body had this massive power from birth. It was never broken. Noah simply lacked the proper knowledge to control it the right way. A slight smirk appears on his face, realizing absolutely no one suspects his hidden sacred core. Noah declares he will prove if this supposed defect deserves that title. Julia notices his absolute confidence and raises an eyebrow. The young swordsman moves first this time, striking with the full power of his fused core. Julia dodges the blow easily, but instead of striking back, she asks why he joined this bloody succession war. Noah answers that the reason is obvious. It exists solely to prove who is the strongest. That response seems to satisfy her. Suddenly, Julia tosses her wooden training sword to the ground. "I know what you are thinking. Is it finally going down?" Yes! Julia unleashes her crimson energy, demanding his core and freezing Noah in place. The atmosphere shifts completely, and realizing this is a real battle, Noah quickly calls out to Selena. The maid reacts instantly and throws his actual steel sword over to him. Noah catches it midair, just as Julia charges. Their blades clash head-on, triggering a massive blast across the training field. The massive shockwave rattles Noah's entire body, forcing him to push back with everything to stop her ferocious assault. Still, Julia slowly pushes him back with terrifying force, smiling for the first time after seeing his incredible progress. Excitement gleams in her eyes as she demands him to show her much more. Leaping back, she dares him to survive her next move, channeling crimson energy to unleash her style's first stance. The heavy pressure warns Noah of the impending danger, forcing him to tap into both cores to block the strike. Julia unleashes a massive wave of crimson energy that completely tears up the training grounds. Noah meets it head-on. The brutal collision explodes into sparks, sending massive shockwaves throughout the entire area. Dust rises everywhere as the ground beneath their feet literally begins to shake. Julia taunts him, asking if he really expects to fight one-handed, daring him to make her use both hands too. Noah shifts his stance, gripping his sword tightly. Stepping forward, he unleashes a devastating vertical slash with all his might. The heavy impact actually forces her to defend using both hands. Noah smiles for forcing her to get serious, but Julia replies with insane power that sends him flying away. He grits his teeth, enduring the heavy pressure dragging him across the floor, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. Julia stands tall in the center of the battlefield, wrapped in a deeply dark, crimson aura. Looking at her, Noah realizes the harsh truth. Even with his sacred demonic core active, he can barely keep up. This is the absolute limit of his current strength. The white-haired girl asks if he knows why the Daskor family members do not just kill each other instantly during the succession war. She explains that the stronger a demonic core gets, the slower its overall growth becomes. So, harvesting a weak core is useless. Even so, Noah managed to block her strikes and push her back. Julia admits that if his core truly holds that hidden potential, maybe it is worth stealing after all. Noah tenses up at the threat, and trust me, you and I do not want to miss the next episode. Get ready, as you and I are about to witness the most intense clash in this story. She unleashes her eighth stance. Right as she was about to strike, a voice echoed through the area. A sword flew between them, halting her violent strike. He blocked Julia's attack and demanded she stop immediately, warning that continuing this fight would end up killing Noah. Julia coldly replied that this was a battle for cores. Confused, the bodyguard explained that Noah's demonic core was already completely empty. He revealed that the energy, keeping him on his feet, was almost gone. Julia glanced sideways at Noah, who was breathing heavily while desperately trying to catch his breath. If his core were truly a 4 or 5-star level, his energy would not have run out this quickly. After a brief pause, she sheathed her weapon, admitting a misunderstanding, but warned Noah never to forget her harsh words. One day she would take his core for herself. Noah replied with a calm smile, saying he would eagerly look forward to it. As Julia walked away, suspicion lingered in her eyes as she recalled the massive blow he had blocked earlier. Now, you and I need to pay close attention, because a 2-star core could never survive that. He was hiding a secret. A faint smile appeared on her face as she quietly admitted that his sudden growth was becoming quite interesting. Elsewhere, someone was absolutely furious. Deep inside a section of the mansion, Skardiskor exploded with intense rage. The long-haired subordinate who was beaten by Noah stood nearby, reporting every single detail of what had occurred. Scar refused to accept Noah entering the succession war, screaming in sheer frustration and demanding to know how this happened. However, after listening to the entire report, his expression suddenly shifted completely. With a nasty smirk, he said it was fine, since he had already devised a plan to eliminate Noah permanently. Shortly after, Noah met the man assigned as his strict new instructor, whose name was Kyle Olson. Kyle explained that Victor Daskor himself had personally hand-picked him. Taking Noah out too quickly would ruin the fun of the succession war, so the patriarch wanted him properly trained. Noah immediately used his appraisal skill and confirmed that Kyle possessed more than enough strength for the job. The instructor proposed starting right away, but first had another duty, handing him a letter bearing Victor's crimson seal. The mission ordered Noah to investigate and clear out a miasma pool that had recently appeared in the nearby region. A miasma pool was a highly dangerous phenomenon where toxic concentration levels kept rising rapidly for unknown reasons. The only temporary solution was to defeat the rampaging boss monster, known as the Lord, that formed deep within it. Looking at the mission, Noah grinned. I know what you are thinking, and yes, he is already planning. Soon, they entered the forest. Kyle led the expedition forward, easily taking down any monsters in their path. The guards gathered venomous fangs, muttering that Noah would only hold them back with his weak 2-star core. Even Kyle doubted what Victor actually saw in the boy. Suddenly, loud screams echoed from deep within the woods. They rushed toward the sound and found unconscious children among the trees. Noah checked them while Kyle hesitated on their next move. The pool was urgent, but leaving them was impossible. Ultimately, the instructor ordered them to carry the kids and push forward. As they ventured deeper, a thick purple fog began spreading across the sky. The miasma grew thicker with every step, and Noah instantly noticed that the toxic concentration was rising incredibly fast. Before they could even react, a giant creature leaped from the trees. An enormous, monstrous scorpion crashed right before them. Kyle ordered everyone to protect the children, explaining that due to the miasma, the beast had reached rank A. The beast raised its massive stinger and attacked. The heavy impact shattered their formation, sending guards flying. One screamed at its speed, while another feared for Noah's life. But then, the impossible happened. Noah stepped forward and cleanly sliced off the giant monster's tail in one move. Without stopping, he channeled the power of both of his cores into his sword and lunged straight toward the beast. The strike connected flawlessly. The massive creature collapsed under a single, overwhelmingly powerful blow. Kyle watched in shock, warning that it was not over as green venom sprayed from the beast's body, filling the air. Noah shielded himself using the power of both of his cores, though a tiny fraction of the poison still slipped through. Simultaneously, the creature retaliated by firing a crimson beam. Noah met the incoming attack head-on. He blocked the shot, deflecting the energy into the forest. The guards stared in disbelief, praising his incredible swordsmanship. The stinger regenerated and lunged. Stick with me to find out how this unfolds in the next episode. Alright, you and I are about to watch Noah raise his sword again, protected from the poison by his sacred demonic core. Even so, the massive pressure pushes him backward, and deep down, he knows he is pushed to his absolute limit. Seeing this unfold, Kyle wonders how Noah pulled off such advanced techniques without ever having a proper master. Right then, Noah yells at Kyle to distract the beast, and the instructor immediately jumps into action. Scorpia strikes at Kyle with its regenerated stinger, but he blocks it head-on, giving Noah the perfect opening. Seizing the moment, Noah dashes up the beast's back, channeling energy into his feet to stick to the shell. Then, he pulls out one of the spider fangs he saved. He drives it in hard, piercing the armor. The fang shatters, but it cracks the shell and makes the monster roar. Noah hammers the exact same spot repeatedly until the crack widens and completely shatters the beast's defenses. He explains that the spider venom softens the armor, and Kyle finally realizes why they collected those fangs. Now pay attention. Scorpia's eyes suddenly flash with an ominous, glowing red light. The beast aims its stinger directly at its own back, as green magic circles flare up around it. One of the guards activates his technique, trapping the beast in a massive barrier. This is the moment. Noah leaps high, dodging the venom, and with one clean slash slices off the stinger entirely. Two massive slashes cut deep into the creature. Remembering Julia's lethal technique, Noah decides to try something brand new. He blends his sacred and demonic energies together, forging his very own sacred demonic sword style. He unleashes his first custom technique, the dance of light and shadow, shredding Scorpia with rapid strikes. Noah lunges straight toward the weakened crack, plunging his sword deep through the shattered shell. The beast explodes into green goo and collapses, leaving the guards speechless, though Noah knows his technique is still incomplete. He only recreated a fraction of his vision. He orders Kyle to clean up the mess and heads deep into the forest alone to uncover something crucial. Nobody in this era knows what actually causes these miasma pools, but he does. They're triggered by magical tools. Standing before a giant tree pulsing with strange energy, Noah slices a deep cut into the bark. And guess what? We see him pull out a hidden glowing ring, smiling because his plan finally worked. Suddenly, a loud scream echoes through the woods. Sensing danger, Noah rushes back to the group and freezes in shock. A thick blue mist surrounds the unconscious children, and a panicked guard rushes over to report the tragedy. Then, dozens of red-eyed beasts emerge from every single direction, completely surrounding the helpless group. Kyle and his men desperately form a shield around the children, while Noah readies himself for battle. Amidst the chaos, he spots one of the kids wearing a strange collar designed to absorb demonic energy. The device feeds on mana to activate as Kyle screams that they won't hold out much longer. Noah immediately pieces it together. Someone is pulling the strings of this entire crisis from the shadows. So, he decides to hijack the artifact's mana flow to track down its owner directly. The tree ring floats, enveloped in violet and gold energy. Closing his eyes, Noah tracks the resonance signal. A hidden presence flashes in his mind, and Noah grins the moment he pinpoints his target's location. Noah orders the guards to guard the kids before launching himself straight into the wild horde. His blade flashes once, and the oncoming orcs and wolves are instantly wiped out of existence. Cloaked in his sacred demonic aura, he bolts deep into the woods, tracing the signal until stopping in a clearing. With complete composure, the young lord calls out the hidden stalker, demanding they show themselves. Suddenly, a masked swordsman drops from the trees, launching a lethal surprise attack. Noah blocks the blow instantly, and the violent clash of their blades shakes the entire forest floor. The enemy recoils, shocked that a mere member of the Daskor family found his hiding spot so easily. Noah bluntly asks who gave the orders, but the assassin flatly refuses to give an answer. Undeterred, Noah calmly replies that he will find out sooner or later as they clash fiercely once more. The masked man demands to know if that bizarre power actually originates from his demonic core. And that's where we leave it, as our enemy channels dark energy to unleash complete chaos. Alright, you and I are about to dive into an absolute monster of a fight. Shadows stretch under his feet as dozens of crimson blades fly straight at Noah. Noah raised his sword to block the first strike, but the brutal weight behind the attack took him completely by surprise. One impact managed to slip past his guard, forcing him back. Seizing the moment, he quickly activated his appraisal skill. The data popped up instantly, and as soon as he saw the name, Noah's tense expression totally relaxed. The best part? Darius had terrible swordsmanship. The key was to drag this fight into close quarters combat. So Noah charged straight ahead, dodging and deflecting the storm of razor-sharp blades with mind-blowing agility. The combined holy and demonic energy inside his legs let him burst forward at an unbelievable speed. Darius never expected anyone to charge head-on against his spell. Noah closed the distance, ready to land a lethal blow. His opponent smirked arrogantly, calling the charge way too predictable, and ordered every remaining blade to surround him. Seeing the trap lock into place, Noah unleashed one of his own skills as purple and gold light exploded. The pressure of his holy demonic core expanded, unleashing a devastating wave from his sword that completely froze Darius. He recognized the move instantly, but Noah did not give him a second to think. The masked fighter tried to counter, but our hero dodged and called him slow. A clean strike connects, and watch this, Darius crashes to the ground, completely broken, dropping his weapon. Even in defeat, Darius could not understand how Noah pulled off that skill. Noah calmly told him copying was not his real power. His holy demonic core allowed him to craft complex spells that should be totally impossible for normal humans. Confident in his victory, Noah moved in to interrogate him, but the masked man pulled out a vial and drank it before anyone could stop him. Agony immediately twisted his entire body. His bones cracked loudly, and his muscles bulged until he mutated into a literal monster. Within seconds, Darius became a massive beast that Noah instantly recognized, his face showing genuine worry. The beast lunged forward with insane speed, its heavy impact generating a massive shockwave across the area. Noah understood the difference right away. The raw power of this creature was on a completely different level. Darius mocked him, asking how long he could survive, throwing deadly claws while Noah could only defend and retreat. The beast kept coming. And let us be honest, you and I knew that things had just gotten incredibly bad for Noah. Just dodging would only delay the inevitable. He needed an opening. Suddenly, the beast lunged, determined to finish it all. This time, Noah reached out with one hand, and the ring on his finger erupted in a brilliant violet glow. A pink barrier materialized out of thin air, completely blocking the massive strike. The force bounced back, sending the beast flying. The ring of absolute repulsion, his past relic, finally showed its true strength. Noah leaped high into the air while gathering golden light in his sword. This was the exact opportunity he wanted. Holy and demonic energies fused together into his divine demonic style, causing a blinding explosion of pure light. A massive beam slammed directly into the enemy, swallowing the battlefield. As the smoke cleared, absolute silence returned. Noah sighed in relief. His ring of absolute repulsion saved him, nullifying the blow and sending back a lethal shockwave. After securing the victory, Noah immediately rushed back to join Kyle and the others. Unfortunately, the situation back there had gotten way worse. Kyle and his men desperately held back the horde to protect the unconscious children. The instructor was at his limit. A massive orc raised its mace, ready to deliver a finishing blow. Kyle could not defend, but the attack suddenly froze. Suddenly, the giant orc collapsed right in front of him. Confusion spread as more monsters dropped dead, one after another. Seconds later, Noah walked out of the forest completely calm, simply asking if everyone was still alive. Kyle replied that they survived by a miracle, admitting they had no idea what had just happened. Noah looked down at the children resting safely and explained that a powerful puppeteer was controlling everything from the shadows. Unfortunately, the identity of the person who hired him remained a mystery. The danger passed, but Noah looked deeply concerned. Back at the Daskor mansion, Noah walked with a dark expression toward an isolated building, unable to shake what happened in the forest from his mind. Innocent kids almost died just because someone wanted his head. Silently, he swore the culprit would pay a heavy price for this. Selena suggested speaking with Eve Daskor. Out of all the siblings, she ran the family intelligence network. If anyone could uncover who hired the mercenaries, it was definitely her. Noah agreed immediately. Trust me, you and I are going to love what comes next. Come along with me right as our main character Noah is about to enter. A familiar voice stops him. Despite sharing blood, Seekers blocks his path. The tension builds between them as Noah recalls all the dark secrets he uncovered earlier. Eve stayed clear of actual combat and the succession war, but her influence was everywhere. Noah demands entry. The blonde swordsman refuses, revealing that he is now working as Eve's personal bodyguard. Even worse, he refuses to trust someone so consumed by vengeance. Noah understands and draws his blade. Seekers reacts instantly, lunging forward. Their swords clash violently in the courtyard, sending wild sparks flying everywhere. The massive collision unleashes a powerful shockwave before both warriors take a sudden step back. Crimson energy wraps around Seeker's hand as he triggers his technique, shattering the ground into massive stone pillars. Danger comes from all directions, but Noah moves like lightning, obliterating every obstacle in his way. Seekers refuses to stop, channeling even more power beneath his feet to summon a giant stone blade. He strikes again, and Noah blocks as the courtyard echoes with ringing steel. This fight is getting lethal. Suddenly, Cecil switches to dual curved blades, forcing Noah back with a flurry of fierce slashes. Now, pay attention. Noah triggers his appraisal skill mid-fight, and what he sees is shocking. Cecil possesses incredible raw talent, despite having a weak demonic core, relying on intricate maneuvers instead of brute strength. Realizing this, Noah completely abandons his defense, deciding to finish this duel with overwhelming physical force. Vibrant purple and gold energy wraps around his weapon, initiating a deadly dance of light and shadow. The explosive strike sends Cecil flying back, but the resilient blonde swordsman recovers in a split second. Crimson lightning surrounds his blade as he readies the legendary Shadow Lightning style. Noah recognizes it instantly. Kyle Olson detailed this style during training, a blindingly fast technique with unavoidable strikes. Cecil grins maliciously, reminding him that simply understanding an oncoming attack does not mean he will survive. The strike lands. Crimson lightning rips through the ground, rushing straight toward Noah. In response, he unleashes his absolute maximum power. Purple and red magical forces clash head-on. Smoke and dust completely blanket the area. As it clears, Noah remains standing, looking incredibly imposing. Unfortunately, lingering crimson energy burns his skin. Feeling the pain in his arm, he realizes the cold truth. Copying skills has a clear limit. No matter how flawlessly he mimics them, they cannot surpass the original. Let that sink in. If he wants to reshape the future, he must forge his own legendary skills. Right before they clash again, a sudden voice stops their fierce duel. Eve Daskor has arrived. The purple-haired girl calmly surveys the ruined courtyard from the entrance. She asks why they are fighting, and Cecil instantly accuses Noah of attempted murder. Noah ignores the accusation, questioning why someone who claims to avoid the succession war even needs a bodyguard. Eve casually admits she is terrible at combat. But then, she drops a bombshell, asking if he wants to know who hired those mercenaries. His expression shifts completely. Noah demands to know how she found out. Eve just smirks, claiming that very few secrets escape her. She will gladly help, but valuable information always comes with a steep price. Noah accepts the terms and asks for her price. Eve points him toward one place, the Infinite Library. Hearing that name sends shivers down Noah's spine. We are talking about a colossal labyrinth that remained a mystery in his past life. Entire bustling cities of adventurers and scholars were established around its borders, yet countless explorers never returned. Eve wants a specific item hidden inside, the Book of Eternal Depths. Noah remembers it immediately. In the future, this artifact will revolutionize magic and save countless lives during the invasion. Securing it now would completely rewrite history. Without hesitation, he accepts the deal, sealing their massive contract. Sometime later, a carriage departs from Dashor territory. Inside, Noah travels alongside Lydia and Selena. Their destination is Arcanum, the legendary city built right next to the Infinite Library. Stone streets wind through the city while towering structures surround the labyrinth. They say nobody who enters ever comes out unchanged. To retrieve the book, Noah requires a reliable local guide, so he heads straight to the Adventurers District. Back at the mansion, Eve relaxes with some tea. Suddenly, her butler announces an entirely unexpected visitor. And trust me, seeing the pink-haired Scar Dashor walk in with that smug grin leaves us wanting more. Come along with me as we dive into this tense showdown, where Scar demands answers from Eve about Noah. He also asks about C, but she calmly lets him know that the blonde swordsman is already out on a mission. A dark smirk creeps onto his face, realizing she is unprotected, but she coldly reminds him that her subordinates can still easily handle him. Scar brushes it off and quickly pivots back to his real goal. He wants information, specifically the secret behind Noah's bizarre, mysterious power. Eve is shocked by how much he knows, but he reveals that Noah already crushed his pursuers. Hearing this, Eve sets down her teacup and refuses, because the War of Succession is strictly forbidden territory. If she picks a side now, the other siblings will immediately start plotting her downfall too. Scar's smirk slowly fades as he asks if she really intends to reject his generous offer. Eve replies that cooperation requires equal compensation for the risk. Scar repeats that word with amusement as his gaze turns dark. Pay attention here, he warns her that she will understand soon. Meanwhile, in the city of Arcanum, Noah is still searching for a guide to enter the Infinite Library. Finally, he stops in front of an old shop, hidden between massive buildings. It looks abandoned, but he recognizes it instantly. Peering through the window brings back deep nostalgia. Stepping inside, his eyes drift across the dusty shelves, unlocking an old memory. The shop owner notices him immediately. His name is Osri. The man apologizes, explaining the shop is closed, but Noah calmly tells him he is not there to buy, but to hire him as a guide. That offer only makes the owner laugh bitterly. Osri flatly refuses, claiming he does not do that kind of work anymore. This strikes Noah as strange, because in the future, this man was famous for loving that library more than anyone else. Noah asks him why he quit, completely changing Osri's facial expression in an instant. The man falls silent, looks down at the counter, and apologizes, admitting recent events have him on edge. Before they can continue, the shop bell rings as another person steps through the door. You saw that, right? Noah completely freezes upon seeing Julia Dasgor. The white-haired swordswoman greets him with a confident smile, revealing she spotted him earlier and curiosity brought her to Arcanum. Hearing her name throws Osri into a panic, since Julia Dasgor's legendary reputation is well known across the city. Noah formally introduces himself and explains his request again. This time, a terrified Osri actually agrees. However, there is a catch. He leads them to the back room, where an unconscious woman lies in bed. Osri explains that 1 month ago, she was cursed by a monster from the Infinite Library. This beast trapped her in an eternal sleep that will kill her, leading Noah to conclude they must defeat it. So, Osri begs Julia for help instead of Noah, relying on the famous heir of the great Dasgor family. Julia agrees immediately, though she sets one extra condition of her own. She wants Noah to join, so she can witness his strength firsthand, and he instantly sees right through her. She still doubts the nature of his strength, but Noah accepts anyway, assuring Osri that the guide job is officially his. Shortly after, the group gathers right in front of the colossal, towering structure of the Infinite Library. Noah asks if she can really leave another mission unfinished, but the white-haired girl completely ignores his concern. What she truly cares about is uncovering his secret. Remembering that something besides a demon core blocked her strikes in their last fight, she openly challenges him inside the labyrinth. She demands answers, but Noah stays quiet, realizing she noticed far more than he expected. Just then, Osri arrives fully prepared, and they head toward the massive tower as other adventurers gear up for their runs. Multiple adventurers recognize Osri, whispering that the Dasgor siblings will soon become his next tragic victims. Soon, they stand right before the colossal entrance. Osri places his hands on the giant doors, a blue light flashes, and the massive gateway slowly creaks open. An endless world of bookshelves, stairs, corridors, and floating platforms reveals itself the moment they cross the threshold. Even Noah pauses before the sheer scale of it, while Julia admits she finally understands why a guide is necessary. Endless paths twist the area into a massive labyrinth until Noah spots a mural that captures his undivided attention. And that's where we leave it, staring at carvings of the same invaders who wiped out humanity in his past life. Let's dive in and see how Noah stumbles upon a secret proving this endless library hides unimaginable mysteries. Somewhere in this massive place, there must be information capable of changing the future itself. His determination grew even stronger. He had to find the Book of Eternal Depths. Since they were only on the first floor, Noah asked where on earth it could be hidden. Osri explained it was forbidden knowledge buried in the deepest zone. Nobody had ever ventured down that far, making it terrifying. The group walked toward a massive magic circle. This portal would take them directly down. Before they reached it, several orcs emerged from the magic circle to attack. Osri backed away in fear, asking if the siblings could handle them. Noah answered by striking. His sword flashed once and the monster was sliced in two. The bodies hit the floor as Noah sheathed his weapon. Even Julia looked impressed before ordering them to move on. Time passed, and the group finally reached the 10th floor. Pay close attention here, because Osri begged them to keep a secret before shifting some books to reveal a hidden passage. The corridor led to an abandoned room with another magic circle. Using it would let them skip several floors at once. The portal activated and a blinding blue light swallowed them up. As the journey ended, the atmosphere shifted. They stood before the 20th floor, and the white-haired girl smiled. That meant tougher enemies lay ahead. They kept moving down the hallway until they spotted another magic circle. Suddenly, the ground cracked open, and massive roots burst out. A giant tree monster with crimson eyes loomed right before them. Azari immediately recognized it as an ancestral treant. The guide panicked upon seeing that it far exceeded his expectations. He believed escaping was completely impossible, but Julia just smirked and asked if he really thought they both needed to fight. According to her, she was more than enough, and Julia charged ahead. The branches shot out like deadly spears, but she dodged effortlessly while slicing through everything in her path. Leaping through the attacks, she closed the distance. Energy wings materialized on her back as she flew straight toward one of its eyes. Her blade pierced straight through, but even after receiving that devastating blow, the massive beast remained standing. Audrey shouted that the wood was hard as steel and required magic. Before they could react, thick roots trapped Julia. The monster had her secured. The branches tightened around her body and wooden hands prepared to crush her flat. Noah screamed out in pure desperation, but the incoming attack stopped mid-air as a crimson glow burst forth. I know what you are thinking. And yes, Julia unleashed her fifth form, cloaking herself in stunning dark flame armor. She looked like living fire. Protected by the armor, Julia activated her style's first dance, the Dark Flame Sword Dance. Crimson fire exploded. She broke free instantly and dashed forward, leaving a blazing trail of dark flames in her wake. Every single slash sliced through branches that previously resisted steel. Reaching the trunk, Julia concentrated her power for a final strike. A massive wave of black and red flames erupted, striking the monster dead on. A massive wound sliced across the trunk. Julia calmly declared that mere steel could never hope to stop her blade. Unfortunately, the battle was not over. Audrey shrieked a warning that a hidden branch had caught Julia by her ankle. More roots locked onto her again. Watching it regenerate, she knew the beast would keep recovering unless she burned it to ashes. The monster dragged her in. Noah knew exactly what was about to happen next. Without hesitating, he grabbed Audrey and dragged her away, commanding everyone to fall back immediately. Julia's eyes flashed. Everything exploded as roaring dark flames devoured the entire battlefield. The shockwave threw Noah and Audrey to the ground. The fire consumed the ancestral Trent, leaving absolutely nothing behind. As the smoke cleared, Julia stepped out of the flames completely unfazed and asked if they could finally move on. Audrey and Noah could only watch in silence. She had defeated the monster alone, and Noah understood this best. The Dark Flame Sword Dance possessed some of the most destructive offensive power in the entire continent. With the path cleared by Julia's victory, the group ventured even deeper into the endless library. They finally reached their destination. After checking several bookshelves, Noah froze in his tracks. His eyes went wide as he spotted the exact title he had been searching for. A smile spread across his face as he grabbed it, confirming it was what Eve requested. First goal cleared, now only the cursed beast remained. Azrael said the beasts are nearby, so you and I better get ready for what is coming in the next episode. Let us dive into this mystery together, as Noah finds a strange book sitting isolated on a pedestal. The moment he touched it, a dark presence took over. Instantly, Azrael felt an overwhelming sense of danger. Ancient armor stepped out of the shadows. Crimson eyes gleamed beneath the helmet, and Azrael recognized it instantly. It was the beast that cursed his wife. Noah drew his sword to end this, but Julia jumped right in front of him. Crimson energy erupted around her as she calmly declared that this fight belonged to her and her alone. Her blade clashed violently against the armored foe, sending bright sparks flying across the entire hall. She unleashed a rapid crimson slash that tore through the air. The impact shattered the floor, kicking up a thick cloud of dust. But the force blew her back. She narrowed her eyes, realizing a drawn-out battle would be extremely dangerous. The white-haired swordswoman charged forward, unleashing fierce attacks. Steel clashed against steel, lighting up the room with sparks. The monster blocked every single strike. Even Noah was completely shocked by this. Pay close attention here, because blocking Julia's power is unreal. She pushed her speed and threw a devastating strike. Right after, she activated her style's second stance. A massive firestorm surged forward, heading straight for the monster. Noah and Azrael leaped back to avoid the blast. The armored enemy reacted instantly, raising its own blade. Their powers clashed, causing a massive explosion that shook the library. Julia spotted an opening and struck the enemy's chest. But the monster countered immediately. The brutal blow sent Julia flying back, cracking a piece of her protective barrier. Even she had underestimated this opponent. The creature slowly opened its massive maw. Green energy surged inside its mouth. Julia knew she was in trouble, since her injured arm made defense impossible. The beam fired. Noah dashed forward and shoved her out of the way just before the massive impact. The attack tore through the floor, leaving a giant crater in the library. Noah glared at the beast and declared he was stepping in. Julia doubted if he could actually handle that kind of crazy power. Noah simply warned her about one thing: its hand that was the source of the curse. Julia admitted she could not gather enough energy with her injured arm. Noah stepped up and made a proposal. He wanted to recreate the attack that the monster had used to hurt her before. He wanted to replicate that exact exchange, but with a twist. This time, they were taking the monster's hand. Julia got the plan. A sibling combo attack? You know it! She unleashed her dark flames, and Noah unleashed his power. Crimson and golden energy slammed into the enemy at the exact same time. The clash triggered a massive explosion, as thick smoke completely swallowed the entire battlefield. The siblings fell back, preparing their next move. Through the smoke, the monster roared in fury as Julia watched grimly. This opponent had insane superhuman durability. She charged again with her blazing sword, and the creature struck back fiercely. Their weapons clashed in midair. Noah tried to absorb the impact with his energy, but the pressure instantly overwhelmed him. The young white-haired girl unleashed her second stance again, releasing another devastating whirlwind of raging flames. The blast shook the library as the monster vanished in the smoke. A green glow reappeared, and Julia screamed Noah's name. But this time his reaction was different. His sword transformed, glowing with an intense dual-polarity golden light. Noah's aura surged violently as he charged forward. His heavy strike shook the floor before he drove his blade deep into the enemy's chest. The monster roared in agony as the holy power consumed it. Exhausted, Noah stumbled. He had pushed past his absolute limit. Julia rushed to his side and launched another destructive whirlwind. She blew the enemy back, declaring her debt was settled. But the monster remained standing. Noah and Julia completely froze. Suddenly, there were two of them. An eerie voice echoed through the hall, criticizing their fighting style. Noah stood paralyzed as a golden glow enveloped him. The voice warned him that his energy was mixed and incomplete. Noah demanded to know who was speaking, but the answer left him stunned. Successor of the Divine Core. They congratulated his awakening. A system window popped up. Successor of the Divine Core, awakening completed. Julia called out in worry, seeing that strange aura. Noah ignored her, channeling all that golden energy into his blade for a brand new technique. Divine Style, Second Stance Double Celestial Rift. Two powerful golden beams shot forward at lightning speed. The strike blasted both monsters, sending them flying back. Noah finally understood everything. This was the true potential of his strength. Another notification popped up, confirming the invitation. That is when Noah realized it. He inherited the Divine Core, changing the world forever, and now you and I are left hanging as this majestic blonde guy appears. Come along with me for this epic meeting. A divine aura surrounds the stranger standing before a very curious Noah. This is Zex, the former wielder. Noah immediately questions the origin of such insane power. Without holding back, Zex calls him a defective being, revealing that humanity once fought using the divine core. But internal conflicts ruined everything. Afraid of that massive power, they completely wiped out the wielders. To prevent the divine core from returning, they split it into sacred and demonic. Noah finally understands everything. Those two forces dwelling inside him were never actually enemies. By holding both, the legendary divine core has awakened once again. Without wasting any time, Noah asks the question that has tortured his soul since the world was destroyed. If they had not betrayed the wielders, could humanity have actually defeated those brutal invaders? The towering golden figure of Zex looks down with absolute confidence and answers without a single doubt. Humanity would have won. Those damn invaders would have been completely wiped out. Hearing this, Noah feels overwhelming hope for the first time since returning. But Zex warns him not to celebrate yet. His core is still incomplete. He must evolve in battle, absorbing the energy of every enemy he crushes. Noah accepts without a second thought. If fighting is the only path to change this tragic future, he has no regrets. Zex simply points to the monsters outside, ordering him to start by sweeping away the trash in front of him. Don't blink, because a brutal wave of gold and purple energy explodes from Noah as he returns to reality. 6 glowing swords of pure light manifest around him, floating in the air as if they are alive. The armored beast tries to defend, but Noah charges at insane speed. His strike completely shatters that cursed arm. Desperate, the monster reaches out to grab one of the floating light blades, hoping to drain its power. But Noah already masters the technique. Those 6 swords serve as attack and defense. They strike and protect simultaneously. The ogres watch in terror as Noah moves like a ghost across the battlefield. Golden weapons dance around him as he pierces the beast's chest with highly precise and brutal thrusts. Noah smirks with arrogance, seeing that the flow of battle has finally tilted completely in his favor. The creature roars in agony as the attacks shred its body. Seconds later, it collapses from the final blow. Noah turns to the second enemy, which is already gathering devastating green energy to fire a massive beam. "This is where you and I hold our breath," Julia screams for him to dodge, but the beam hits, and Noah blocks with a shield. The clash of these two massive energies triggers a violent explosion, shaking the entire library floor. The pressure is unreal. Several blades shatter from the impact, but Noah stands back up, his remaining weapons floating. Julia is left absolutely speechless, seeing him emerge from that fiery explosion without a single scratch. Noah smiles and calls it a 2-on-1. Moving like lightning, he shapes a brand new sword of light. The devastating strike lands directly on the monster, unleashing a massive, blinding burst of golden energy. The enemy finally crashes down dead. Instantly, a system window pops up, announcing his core has leveled up. Zex's voice echoes once again to congratulate him. This is exactly how the divine core evolves and grows stronger. Noah realizes the true path to power is through battle. Osri approaches slowly, unable to believe what he just saw. Julia walks over, letting out a sigh of relief that this horrific threat has finally been completely destroyed. In that moment, she realizes something incredible. The curse is gone, no longer corrupting her body. Osri's wife is safe as well. The emotional guide weeps with joy, thanking them over and over again. Julia ignores the celebration and locks her gaze directly onto Noah. The white-haired girl mutters that he no longer feels like a simple 2-star warrior, demanding answers about that technique. Noah stays silent, but Julia insists, noting there are several combat styles tied to the demonic core. The magic sword style is the foundation, while the dark flame path focuses entirely on raw, destructive power. The dark lightning style prioritizes extreme speed, while the abyssal style focuses heavily on deception and surprise attacks. But Noah's power fits none of them. Tension skyrockets as the two of them stare each other down. Noah offers no reply, but suddenly Julia cracks a smile. In the end, The mystery doesn't even matter. Instead, she firmly declares that she eagerly awaits the glorious day they finally fight each other for real. And that's where I leave you with this wild cliffhanger back at the mansion. Noah enters Eve's room, and his face goes completely dark. Come with me to witness the beginning of this brutal revenge story. The blonde swordsman quickly revealed what happened. Eve is gone, and Scar took her. He raided the estate for info on Noah and kidnapped her. Instantly, Noah connected the dots. The mercenaries, the forest ambush, the stolen intel. Scar was behind it all. Noah smiled coldly. Things just got simple. They were saving Eve, and Noah declared this was no longer a rescue. This was absolute retaliation. Klish joined too, furious she was taken under his watch. Kyle tried stopping them to wait for backup, but Noah refused. No time for caution. The dark-haired youth reminded them that Daskor blades never break, no matter the odds. He ordered Kyle to guard the mansion. The instructor accepted, promising to protect it with his life. Shortly after, Noah and Seal rode out toward Scar's territory. Along the way, Noah asked if Eve was safe. Cease reassured him before revealing something unexpected. His demon core was always much weaker than his siblings' core, so he polished his swordplay to compensate. Noah finally understood their past fight. That was why he couldn't predict a single one of Cease' moves. Everything he did was for Eve. Power was meaningless unless it was used to keep her safe. Reaching Scar's mansion, they dismounted at the gates. At first, Noah planned to slip in quietly. But watch this, forget stealth. Noah marches right up and kicks the heavy gates open. The entrance shattered into splinters as Noah unleashed his aura. Suddenly, an entire squad surrounded them. Scar's elite guards were waiting. They warned Noah that these opponents weren't rookies. Their leader mocked the brothers for charging blindly right into the heart of enemy territory. Noah looked at them with complete indifference, calmly stating he wouldn't waste time on small fry. A mercenary lunged from behind. Noah caught it instantly, blocking the blade and delivering a brutal kick. The rest of the guards rushed in together, shouting that anyone defying Scar gets zero mercy. Surrounded in seconds, Noah dodged with incredible precision, blocking one strike while effortlessly deflecting the next. His blade flowed seamlessly between offense and defense, sending bright sparks flying across the courtyard. Meanwhile, Cease held his own nearby. The blonde swordsman leaped high and brought his blade crashing down. The massive impact shook the earth right before he unleashed his dark lightning style's third stance. A burst of dark blue thunder erupted in a slashing storm that swept the mercenaries away. Multiple foes flew back, covered in electricity. Can you believe this? Cease raises his sword, challenging them all. Noah watched for a split second, knowing his brother could easily handle that side on his own. But an enemy seized that opening to strike his back, warning him never to look away in battle. Suddenly, the attacker pulled an incredibly strange object out of his pocket. A crimson magic circle flared to life beneath Noah, engulfing the entire courtyard. Coating his blade in cursed energy, he lunged straight at Noah for a deadly pierce. Noah instantly activated his appraisal skill, realizing this vault guy was no ordinary mercenary. He possessed a secret technique designed specifically to counter demon core users. Noah tried using his divine style's second stance, but sharp pain exploded through his body. As blades clashed, the seal suppressed his demon core. Noah stumbled back while Vault grinned coldly. To him, raw sword skill was never enough. Within the burning barrier, things looked grim. The blonde swordsman yelled at Noah to move ahead while he held the line here. Noah hesitated briefly before nodding. Saving Eve was the only priority. Noah leaped through the flames into the estate, leaving Cease alone against the guards. They tried to pursue, but the blonde swordsman raised his hand, still holding mana despite his sealed core. Stone erupted from the ground, shaping a path right beneath him. Sir Symes jumped up, landing high above, before raising thorn stone walls that trapped several guards instantly. Vault clicked his tongue, but C challenged him. Trust me, the next clash is going to be epic. Come along with me as this crazy showdown begins, with Eve trapped while Scar demands Noah's secret. But no matter how much he pushed, the purple-haired girl remained silent until Scar admitted he had captured all her allies. Eve just glared with absolute disgust, calling him trash and declaring that sharing his blood was her life's greatest humiliation. Suddenly, a massive crash echoed outside. Scar whipped around toward the window while Eve smiled. According to her, her foolish little brother fell right into a trap, but she still mocked Scar one more time. Underhanded tricks did not suit a Descore, a direct hit to his fragile pride. Infuriated, he screamed that he would finally witness Noah's power with his own eyes, but suddenly, the window shattered as our hero crashed through with style. First, he checked on Eve to ensure she was safe, and only then did he lock his eyes onto Scar. He firmly declared he was here to rescue her, and even as Scar's skeleton army surrounded him, Noah marched forward without a single doubt. His swords of light swirled around him like loyal guardians. Every single skeleton that drew close was instantly vaporized, infuriating Scar, who screamed, asking if he really thought he could win alone. He blocked his brother's blade, dodged a skeleton strike with a fluid twist, and launched a fierce counterattack. A brilliant golden light erupted from his sword, sweeping through the entire room and wiping out the undead army. Scar was thrown backward, grimacing in intense pain as he took the full force of the shockwave. Instead of running away, the pink-haired swordsman slammed his blade deep into the stone floor. A dark purple energy flooded the courtyard, cracking the earth open as a massive bone dragon burst out into the open. Scar ordered the beast to shred his brother, while the monster's hollow eyes burned with ghostly fire, and its bones loudly creaked. Incredibly, Noah simply grinned as the game system revealed his divine core was now at level 12. Brilliant gold energy erupted around him, activating the fifth form of his divine style as he charged straight at the giant beast. The monster roared, and an identical golden glow suddenly flashed in both Noah's eyes and the dragon's skull. Now pay attention, because here is where everything takes a wild turn. Noah lands on the frozen dragon's head. Calmly, Noah explained that the dragon now belonged to him after seizing control with his divine core. Scar completely snapped, channeling a heavy shroud of darkness to unleash the first form of his abyss style. The strike shot forward, but in that exact split second, Noah vanished from the dragon's head to appear behind his brother. A single blow sent Scar crashing down in defeat, though the pink-haired swordsman began to grin wickedly. He muttered that he never wanted to resort to this, as a mysterious flute materialized in his hand. A blue light washed over the courtyard as a massive, magic circle activated, summoning two assassins who held Eve hostage again. Scar mocked him, asking if he really thought he could save her, while Noah called him a coward for hiding. He promised to free her right after ending his life, releasing a blast of dark energy as he charged forward. Noah was completely paralyzed because any wrong move would risk Eve's life, until a violent burst of red energy crashed down. Let that sink in, as Scar freezes. Those heavy footsteps mean Damon Descore has finally arrived. The eldest brother stood beside Eve, completely crushing everyone with his overwhelming pressure, leaving Noah absolutely shocked. With total composure, Damon made it clear that Eve was neutral here, so using her as a hostage broke family law. Scar did not care at all, causing Damon's expression to turn freezing cold as he promised a harsh punishment. He warned them that targeting neutral members was strictly forbidden, while giving Noah the green light to resume the fight. The duel was back on without any rules, allowing Noah to look at Scar and openly mock his cowardice. Could he really not fight without using human shields? Those words pushed Scar into pure rage. Pitch-black darkness enveloped his body as he activated the seventh form of the Abyss style, boosting his monstrous power. Noah instantly recognized the danger, knowing that the Abyss style specialized in deception and highly unpredictable attacks. He could not let Scar take control of the battle, so both brothers rushed forward and clashed weapons. Steel echoed endlessly across the courtyard with every blow, until Noah unleashed his heavenly rift, sweeping with golden light. Even Noah was stunned when Scar successfully blocked the blow, launching a relentless counterattack immediately. Using the fourth form of his invisible slash, Noah failed to react, taking a direct hit that drew blood. Agonizing pain surged through his entire body as Scar kept pressing him with no mercy. Blocking that final strike, Noah leaves Scar totally shocked, and you and I are desperate to see who wins this war. Let's dive into the absolute chaos as the courtyard explodes with attacks, and Noah finally realizes the truth. Scar's moves were underhanded but deadly. In the end, Noah asked him why he chose this dark path with such insane talent. Scar's smile vanished, his voice went cold, admitting Victor Dascoin never once recognized him. No matter his achievements, his father completely ignored him. That is why he abandoned the traditional style to carve his own path. He would force everyone to acknowledge him by winning this succession war, his dark energy surging once again. Ninth form, Dragon Burial Destruction. A massive crimson sphere materialized before transforming into a giant, roaring energy dragon. The devastating blast surged toward Noah, exploding on impact and completely swallowing the entire courtyard in blinding light. At the last second, golden swords formed a protective shield. Noah survived, but his expression warped as his demon core reached its absolute limit. A sharp pain shot through his neck. In that split second, he remembered the poison. When Scar previously tried to kill him, Noah kept a sample. Pulling out the hardened pill, Scar's eyes widened, screaming to ask if he had gone completely insane. That medicine forces the demon core to overflow uncontrollably, but Noah swallowed it anyway as golden light erupted. His aura surged violently. What was lethal poison to others became a power-up for him, triggering a system screen. Divine Core Level 20 achieved. This showdown has reached its climax as they face off in the ruined courtyard, their powers still rising. Pay close attention here as our boy gathers golden and violet energy to unleash his ultimate second divine form. Light and darkness fuse together, blasting towards Scar like a raging, unstoppable storm. Scar countered instantly. Their attacks collided in a massive explosion that tore through the courtyard and shattered another wing of the mansion. Dust and debris choked the sky as violent shockwaves rippled in every direction. Damien Duskcore quickly raised his heavy shield, protecting Eve from the flying debris. Thick smoke blanketed the area as Scar's estate began to crumble. But as it cleared, both Noah and Scar were still standing. Noah slowly raised his blade, admitting he did not want to kill him and offering a chance to surrender. Scar fell to his knees, defeat filling his eyes as he accepted his loss and promised to hand over his entire demon core. You probably thought it was over. But Scar suddenly smiled and lunged forward with a hidden dagger. Damien and Eve sensed something was wrong, as Scar screamed that he would never kneel before someone like Noah. Noah took a direct hit and collapsed in agonizing pain, causing Eve to let out a desperate, terrified scream. Scar ignored her cries, preparing the finishing blow, but Noah stood back up and shattered his arm at the absolute last second. The pink-haired swordsman collapsed to the ground, his eyes burning with pure, unadulterated hatred. Even in defeat, he refused to accept reality, and seconds later, Noah also collapsed right next to his brother. Damien rushed to Noah to check on him, realizing the wound was deep and their time was rapidly running out. Before panic could set in, bright green flames erupted around Eve as the purple-haired girl finally unleashed her hidden power. The gentle green fire enveloped Noah's body, slowly sealing his deep wound and mending his torn, damaged skin. The nasty gash on his arm completely vanished, bringing color back to his face until he finally opened his eyes. Eve smiled weakly, admitting she was useless in a fight, but her healing core was still incredibly valuable. Noah quietly thanked her and turned to Scar, noticing a glowing crimson sphere emerging from his body as a battle reward. It was the demon core, and the moment Noah touched it, golden sparks and deep purple light wrapped around him. Raw power surged through his body as system notifications flashed, showing his demon core leveling up multiple times instantly. He felt a massive surge of strength just as Cena finally arrived. The blonde swordswoman checked on Eve and sighed in relief, while Damien openly showered Noah with high praise. He never imagined the younger brother could defeat someone as lethal as Scar. Soon, a messenger arrived summoning Noah to Lord Victor. The young man headed straight to the Patriarch's hall, where Victor sat in heavy silence before asking him directly. Rumors had reached him that Noah took Scar's core, which Noah calmly confirmed, stating it was a completely fair duel. Victor then questioned how strong Scar really was, and Noah paused to think before giving his answer. Scar was superior in swordsmanship, power, and sheer resolve, making Victor stare, wondering how Noah managed to win. Noah stayed quiet for a moment, before replying that his own hunger for power eclipsed everyone else's. He refused to lose to anyone in that aspect, and for the first time, Victor smiled, deeply satisfied. For beating Scar, he could demand treasures or sheer power. What do you and I think he will choose? All right. You and I are about to watch Noah reject everything the Patriarch offers, just to demand something incredibly specific. Victor could not comprehend his complete lack of greed. Anyone else would want gold or legendary relics, but Noah just smiled. What he wanted was worth far more absolute, raw strength. Victor finally got it. For Noah, life came down to one word: power. Request approved. Soon, a carriage was winding through rugged mountain passes, leaving the territory of the Dascor family far behind. Inside, Noah sat alongside Lydia and Selena. This long, arduous journey would lead them straight toward their next massive destination. Before setting off, he silently entrusted them with his remaining affairs. Both loyal maids nodded without a single second thought. He could trust them completely. Suddenly, one of the maids hurriedly peered out of the carriage window. Pointing outside with pure excitement, she announced they had finally reached their destination. The carriage slowly pulled up to a massive gate before an enormous mountain estate. Noah stepped down first, looking over the horizon with a knowing smile. They had arrived in Draconia, the legendary city forged from the historic alliance between humans and dragons. As they approached the entrance, two dragonborn guards recognized Noah instantly and bowed down in absolute deep respect. Introducing themselves as official envoys of Draconia, they offered to guide the entire group safely through the city streets. Now watch closely while the girls admire the view. A massive horde of ogres suddenly surrounds them out of nowhere. Their towering leader stepped forward with a massive axe resting on his shoulder as his brutal underlings fanned out behind him. The escorts drew their blades immediately, urging Noah to step back. But our protagonist did not even flinch. He recalled the age-old feud between the ogres and the dragonborn. This region had always been a violent war zone. With the ogres launching an attack now, their goal was clear. The Dascor faction had arrived to aid Draconia. Someone wanted to break this alliance. Remaining completely calm, Noah ordered his companions to stay inside the carriage. The ogre boss mocked the dragonborn for relying on outsiders, claiming he had no interest in weaklings before telling Noah to get lost. Noah simply countered with his own threat. If they retreated right now, he would let them live. The beast lost his temper and charged. A radiant gold and purple aura burst from Noah, just as the giant fist crashed down. The violent impact shattered the ground beneath them, but Noah stood firm. The beast quickly retaliated, hurling a massive boulder. Light and dark energy wrapped his blade as Noah unleashed the first stance of his unique fighting style. His attack vaporized the boulder instantly, striking the boss head-on. Yet, the monster endured it, charging forward with raw strength. Noah realized it instantly, and we did too. just pure, reckless power. Stepping forward, he delivered a lightning-fast slash. His sword ended the duel, sending the giant boss crashing down in defeat. The remaining beasts roared, attacking all at once when they saw their leader fall. Noah scanned the battlefield, triggering the second stance of his divine style. Countless golden blades began raining from the heavens. One by one, the ogres were blasted away until total silence returned. The draconian escort stood frozen in pure disbelief. Lydia and Selena immediately showered him with praise, but he simply sighed, scolding them for leaving the safe vehicle. Both maids insisted that protecting him was their absolute duty. But before they could say more, Noah suddenly looked upward. They were being watched. A massive dragon circled overhead. "Descend," he commanded calmly, and the beast instantly complied. A warrior leapt from its back as the dragon touched down, making the mountain road tremble under its weight. The stranger introduced himself as Delbolt, admitting he had watched the entire skirmish. Noah bluntly asked why he did not intervene. Delbolt replied that a true king never trusts weakness. Noah smirked, realizing that this whole encounter had been a calculated test. Delbolt nodded, confirming that Noah had passed, offering to personally guide him to meet the legendary Lord Algardos. They stepped into Draconia, as the girls admired the breathtaking views, where humans and Dragonborn lived in complete harmony. Vibrant markets blended both unique cultures, while mighty dragons soared freely over their heads. A colossal green dragon sailed through the skies, casting its immense shadow over the quiet, awestruck streets below. Delbolt led them down a dark, lantern-lit cavern, eventually stopping before a massive doorway bearing a striking dragon emblem. The commander announced the arrival of Noah Dargos. A deep voice commanded them to enter, as the carved eyes suddenly glowed. The massive stone doors slowly parted, and a suffocating pressure immediately flooded the entire hall. Noah instantly compared this aura to Victor Daskor's massive presence. It was so intense that the Dragonborn guards fell to their knees. While Lydia and Selena struggled to withstand the crushing weight, Noah stood tall, staring defiantly into the shadows. And there we leave it as a white dragon emerges. Come along with me as golden wings unfold, locking their gaze directly onto Noah. The dragon knights and maids watched anxiously as Noah introduced himself as the Daskor family heir, explaining that his own father had sent him. Arkados, the Dragon King, appreciated the warm welcome. After a brief silence, he asked a question, sensing an incredibly nostalgic power coming from the young man. Noah replied that he expected nothing less from a Dragon King who has lived since ancient times. In that exact moment, Noah unleashed his demonic and sacred course. The ancient king Arkados watched him with intense curiosity. The great dragon admitted he never thought he would ever witness such a magnificent glow again in his lifetime. He then ordered Adalbert to explain everything. The commander stepped forward to detail the specific request they made to the Daskor house. Adalbert explained that the dragons and ogres had been locked in a brutal war for countless years, but recently the balance of power had shifted. Pointing to the map, he showed that every mark represented a terrible defeat for his people. Their painful losses were deeply etched into history. Now, watch closely. A master strategist joined the ogres and broke the tie. Is that why they need his help? Adalbert admitted that the situation was actually much worse. Slamming his dagger into the map, he explained they had to end this bitter war before the tragic day their king, Lord Arkados, passed away. Looking at the towering golden sovereign, Noah realized instantly that Arkados did not have much time left. He knew that once Arkados died, a legendary power known as the Core of Arkados would be born. This was the main reason he accepted the journey. In his past life, that immense power fell into the hands of an S-rank criminal, causing an absolute massacre. So, Noah accepted the mission without a single second of hesitation. Lord Arkados was deeply grateful and promised that, after his death, Noah could keep his body as a reward. Adalbert added he would provide any help needed to finish the mission, but right after, the commander pointed out a crucial detail. He had heard rumors that the ogres obtained an 8 treasures orb. Hearing this shocking revelation, Noah was left completely speechless. The 8 treasures orb was a magical artifact tied directly to a nation's military power, making it an extremely dangerous threat. Noah promised he would also investigate on his own. He figured if he asked Eve for help, she might uncover something useful. Later, we saw Noah walking through the busy city streets, reflecting on how the war between ogres and dragons would soon escalate into a bloody, all-out racial conflict. I know what you're thinking, he can't do this alone. But he smiles because of a totally unexpected reunion. He walked straight toward a massive statue in the city center, where a beautiful girl was praying devoutly. He never expected to find her so easily. He knew her well in his past life. She was a 9-star saintess, a master of healing and barriers who had saved him from death on countless occasions. She died fighting the invaders. Noah smiled, deeply moved, to have the incredible chance to see her alive once again. Noticing his gaze, she suspiciously asked why he was staring so intensely at a complete stranger. She coldly added that her next music performance was still a long way off. Noah was left baffled, and she asked if he wasn't there for her music. Apologizing, he pretended they were strangers and asked her name. Picking up her instrument, she firmly replied that her name was Liliana, and she was a traveling bard. Surprised, Noah instantly activated his appraisal skill, and sure enough, her current class was indeed a bard. Even though she hadn't reached her full potential yet, her current stats were already incredibly promising. With complete seriousness, Noah asked for her help, sharing the harsh details of the conflict between the Dragon King and the ogres. She immediately refused, arguing she felt a dark demonic energy coming from him. Noah understood the situation right away. He focused his energy to display his sacred power, showing her that his strength was actually mixed with something else. She accepted this explanation, but demanded one strict condition before agreeing. Her expression completely changing, she asked him to find her a partner for an incredibly romantic date night. Noah was absolutely stunned. She kept demanding a strong, chivalrous man, making it clear anyone with demonic power was out. Noah thought to himself that she hadn't changed at all. He instantly thought of Commander Adalbert, believing a knight like him would fit her expectations perfectly. She asked if they had a deal. Noah nodded, they shook hands, and he finally introduced himself formally. Heading up a distant mountain, Liliana wonders what they are doing there, as Noah reveals they are prepping for war. Trust me, you and I won't want to miss what comes next. All right, you and I are about to see him hunt down a magic artifact hidden deep in this mountain. He immediately spotted a hidden cave, its entrance completely blocked off by massive boulders. Closing his eyes, he channeled his sacred energy to sense the powerful magic barrier guarding the entrance. Now watch closely, he draws his blade and shatters the magic seal, opening a path into the unknown. Liliana warned him this was a bad omen, sensing a terrifying presence lurking just beyond the threshold. Noah asks if she is afraid, but trust me, she just smiles. Together, they make a choice. Let's go in.